February 19th, shoulder day workout breakdown. I'm pretty excited about this flow. I think on the surface, it looks fairly standard, but excuse me, in terms of the expectation and how it's written, there are a couple little things in here in the flow that are going to make a pretty significant difference and kind of fall right in line with our monthly emphasis. So obviously you're going to start on the top left, 13 minutes and 45 seconds worth, 5 rounds, kind of the theme of this. You'll start on the bike and then transition into a lift, like we talked about all month, right into your normal 8 to 12 rep count range weight. So that's the goal. Let's just start with that. So for the seated presses, the high rows, and the Arnold presses, we want them all to be what you would typically use without aerobic work. That's the goal, and we're really hammering that. So what we don't want to do is prioritize the biking or the aerobic stuff and put the weighted stuff on the back burner or make a different choice in weight based off of the aerobic stuff, which is a big deal. And I've taken quite a few classes this month, and I've seen a lot of people that are blowing way too much steam still on the aerobic side. They're not prioritizing the weights. They're definitely moving entirely too fast. That there's no way they can maintain kind of that floor output, let alone the weights when you transition. So this is just a reminder, halfway through the month, I guess a little over halfway through the month, that the floor is the floor, and 70% is what you're trying to achieve at most, nothing above. So anyways, a minute 30 on the bike at 70% or less. You'll then have a minute and 15 second clock to go do your seated press, which is more than enough time. You should have no issues getting there, knocking it out, and getting back. That being said, getting to the first rep is incredibly important in terms of working on the transitional stuff, working from, the whole point of the monthly emphasis is getting to the strength portion, following the aerobic work. So you certainly want to make that a point if you can. I'm sure there's times where we do overexert ourselves or just general fatigue is starting to accumulate, and it makes that transition just harder and harder as you go, which I think a lot of you are going to feel in this workout for sure. But anyways, you'll do this 5 times. And the difference between this workout and anything else we've really done to this length, which is 45 minutes, is there is no transition time written in. So typically between these 5 rounds, either different blocks, or you do have like 90 seconds or 2 minutes of transition time written in between these. This one's just going to keep going. So after you finish the 5th round of the seated press, a new clock is just going to start, and they're going to be minute and 15 second bike rides. So we're going to knock it down 15 seconds, which should apply some relief to some of us, whether it's mental, physical, or both. The 1:15 clock will still remain for the lift. You get the high rows with the pause, which is going to be really hard. Doing a high row, hinged over, having to control your trunk and your back when you're elevated heart rate, which at this point you're into your 6th to 10th rounds, is going to be very challenging. So that max is going to be really, really hard. So whatever you normally use for your high row, you want to hold it. Like, we don't want to change that. Obviously, there's a pause. So whatever you use for your high row with a pause, we want to maintain that weight, which it is very likely that means a lot of people are going to have to drop their output on the bike. And if you were in the 60, 65, 70% output, like, it's kind of one of those ones where you got to have a little bit of awareness to know that you need to drop to 50 or 55% in order to, again, prioritize the weights and not take a hit on the weights. Again, there's so much stuff you guys can pay attention to while going through. It's 15 rounds of the bike. You guys can be checking RPMs like crazy, just your splits in terms of like how many calories you're getting every time you're on the bike, how much of a difference does the 15 seconds make in terms of how far you're going. Like, lots of data being thrown around here. But anyways, 12 and a half minutes on that one. You'll then go to the top right of the monitor here, 11 minutes and 15 seconds. The bikes are now a minute. Still got that 75-second clock for the Arnold press. Again, you want these weights picked out before you even start, so we don't have to worry about making emotional decisions when we're really tired. At this point, you've been on the bike upwards of 15 minutes. Like, there's gonna be a huge accumulation of calories. I would just let the calories accumulate. It'd be kind of neat to see how far some of you guys get. Again, that not really being the priority. The goal is just to not go above 70%, but still kind of neat to see. And then the part I think I'm most excited for is throwing this little you go, I go at the bottom. Had a little awkward amount of time. This happens every now and then. So I just try to find things that fit in line with what we're doing. And I thought this would be a nice little change of pace, not only to get the you go, I go, but you get to kind of go above the floor output. In terms of execution, we're looking to go a far more ceiling approach here, which we haven't really done a lot this month, and we're not going to do because that's not the emphasis. So this gives you an opportunity to kind of open up a little bit, blow up the bike, see what kind of power you got left in the tank after 15 minutes plus on the bike already. And partner stuff is fun, and you go, I goes where you're transitioning on and off on aerobic equipment has always been fun to me. So hopefully that all makes sense. Hopefully we're paying attention to the little stuff, and maybe you guys enjoy kind of the ending to this as much as I do.